Looking at Apple, one of the most popular and profitable companies in the world. Apple makes popular devices such as your iPhones and Macs and also offers services such as iCloud and Apple Music. To analyze the company, we'll be looking at key stats that you as an investor need to understand for not just Apple but any stock. We will look to use tools from Trove Plus to analyze the company's fundamentals and any technical events that might have occurred in the last week. So without further ado, let's get started. So to give a brief overview of Apple, as our market closed on Friday, September 11, 2020, Apple closed at a price of $112. Year over year, the company is up over 100%. So essentially, if you had invested in Apple as at this time last year, as at the same time last year, you would have essentially doubled your investment. Current market cap for Apple is $1.9 trillion, and the market cap of the company is its outstanding shares multiplied by its share price. Price to earnings for Apple is currently 33.981, and the price to book is 26.553. Price to earnings is the current price of a share divided by the earnings, which is earnings per share, which is 3.296, and the price to book is the current price divided by the book value per share, which is derived from the company's balance sheet. With a price of 112 and a price to book of 26.55, Apple has, if you do a division of 112 divided by 26.55, you get a price to book value of Apple of around $4 per share. Looking at its most recent financials, Apple made revenue of 260 billion in its most recent financials, and net income of 55 billion and a profit margin of around 21.24%. Apple has consistently exceeded analyst expectations when it comes to EPS. You can see by the black and the green circles where this is the expected EPS and its actual EPS, and it's consistently gone above what analysts expected. 84% of analysts expect Apple to anticipate that Apple is a buy, and 15% say it's a hold. We currently do not have any analysts saying to sell this stock. So now onto the fun part, which is using Trove Plus to analyze this stock and see if it's good from a value perspective or from a technical perspective. So using our value analyzer, we will go in here and search for Apple's ticker, which is AAPL, and it should bring up any indicators showing us if Apple is buy or if it's undervalued or overvalued. So currently it has Apple as overvalued, and we'll dive into some of these other charts down here to tell you what essentially these charts are saying. So revenue and earnings history for Apple. Apple has trended upwards for its revenue and earnings history. You can see it started down here in 2010. It's moved all the way up here on a logarithmic scale in 2020. For its fair value estimate, the steady green line is Apple's fair value estimate. So we are looking at a fair value estimate of around a high 30s. We can easily go in here and project and see if certain variables change, how the fair value estimate will be affected. So we can easily say in 1 year, let's project our 1 year, if Apple's EPS was to grow by 20, it would give us a fair value estimate of Apple. So if Apple's EPS was to grow by 20% in 1 year, Apple's fair value estimates would be around 80, the high 80s. So Apple is currently trading at between 100 and 120. So Apple's fair value estimate within a year, if it had EPS growth of 20%, would be around 80, 85 or thereabouts. The value of the share would move from overvalued to a value stock. If we were to say Apple grew by maybe 30%, let's see if it changes. It would actually be undervalued because it would be way above 140 at fair value, and it would as it's currently trading at 112. So this would be a good buy if we had EPS growth of around 30%. Other things to look at are shares outstanding. Apple has shares outstanding that have been in decline for quite some time. This means the company has aggressively been buying back a ton of its shares. So we can see here that it had around 26 billion in shares outstanding in around 2010. That has dropped to around 18 billion right now. Apple has debt to equity ratio of close to 1. That means it has almost as much debt, it has almost as much assets as it has debt. And we can look at the financials and see how the company's revenue has been increasing. It's been increasing consistently from 65 billion in 2010 all the way to the 260 billion that it's at today. For a technical perspective, let's see what technical analysis gives us. Search in our search box for Apple ticker, and that is right there. So this gives us an idea of all the technical events that have been occurring on Apple. You want to be on the lookout for either bearish events or bullish events. Apple has had around, let's scroll down. Apple has had 3 bullish and 13 bearish events. Our support and resistance levels are found at around $50.94 and $113.93. Support is essentially the level at which buyers are more inclined to buy, and resistance is where you're going to see a lot of profit taking, with sellers, with people that have previously bought the shares more inclined to sell, and buyers being hesitant to buy more at this price. If you were to set a trailing stop price, you would be looking to set a stop price of around $103.17. We can go in and see Apple had a bunch of bullish events leading from around middle of April all the way up to around July. Afterwards, you would notice that there's a whole lot of bearish events occurring afterwards. So we can spread the chart here, and we can see that there's been around 13 bearish events. So this is essentially Apple looking at things from our technical insights and fundamental analyzer. One last tool to be cognizant of when you are doing this type of analysis for stocks, you also want to see what the market thinks. So for me, I regularly use NASDAQ's website. So I go to NASDAQ's website and I can search Apple, and it gives me the number of firms making these recommendations. So we can see that there are 12 firms making recommendations for Apple within the last 12 months. It has it rated as a strong buy, and based on the consensus estimate for this analyst, Apple should reach a price of around $118.87. This is based on NASDAQ and analysts. This isn't our personal recommendation. This is by no means what we are recommending. This is just based on the data available on NASDAQ's website. So thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. We will be putting these out often, once a week, once market closes, and we want to thank everybody that's on Trove, and we hope to bring more of these to you going forward. Thank you.